Hey folks, D-Man Biker here again. We're just going to take another look at my Dragracer in ACF. Last video we left off with having some problems with the front wheels coming off the ground and some steering issues and general control issues. And I said I'd work on it and get back to you, and I was bored, so I worked on it right after that. So here's our original car. Remember, it's got no suspension in the back. This is just axis centered. I'm not sure if I made that clear in the last video. It's got a nasty problem with the front wheels coming off the ground. We've got a antiquated steering anchor system and antiquated suspension anchor. This car is very old and really needing an upgrade. It's really only super fast in a straight line. Okay, so I made some changes I showed last video, and since then I've made some other changes. And here's my first attempt. This is the DR20. We're still looking at a rear-wheel drive CVT vehicle. I don't believe I made it especially clear in the last video, but these fins on this car actually do something. They create downforce basically for the vehicle to keep it on the road and keep it under control. Without these fins, it'll go faster in a straight line, sure, but it's basically uncontrollable. I've tested it with tons of combinations of these fins, and having them all on here helps significantly in turns and things like that. So I just want to make that clear. That's why they're still on here. I removed all the visual elements and stuff though, just for now. This version has a fully hydraulic suspension, precision alignment style with floating points that attach directly to the base of the vehicle. And the engine is also moved forward about, I don't know, 10 or 15 units, which helps to alleviate the front end coming off the ground, since the engine is just much more centered in the vehicle itself. If we get in and drive, let's just get in. I gotta fix it because of the weld latch on the rear wheels. It sits very close to the ground, but it will bottom out on the suspension fairly quickly, so it's not that big of a deal. If we get inside here, we have a little bit of a problem still with our just general control. It stays in a straight line actually more than the original did, but it's got some steering issues. Definitely capable as a drag racer, but I wouldn't take it on any tracks like this, as it's just a little wobbly. So I decided to try to fix that issue. I figured it must have to do with frontal traction issues. Let's get back to where we just were. And I went ahead and made a four-wheel drive variant to try to alleviate that, and I have to say it worked pretty well, a lot better than I expected it to. The engine's been moved forward slightly more and raised up, which raises the center of gravity a little bit, but doesn't really affect much. And the transmission's been turned into a CVT inline with the same specs that powers both the front and the rear wheels. The suspension's the same. The rear fin value's been reduced slightly, but that's not really that big of a deal. And I have extensively tested this car without these middle fins, and these actually do help quite a bit, and they barely affect performance as far as top speed goes. These basically just help lock the whole vehicle down to the road, rather than just the front and the back. So if you're going over a jump or something like that, you'll land straight down. So it helps a lot over bumps, and it helps a lot when sliding to the side, since even these vertical things are fins. If we get in the vehicle here, take off, we'll see there's very little creepage, if that makes any sense. The vehicle, it's hard to drive it just because this is such a small road, but the vehicle's way more stable than my last vehicle. I think it might be one of the most stable fast cars I've ever made. Like, this is exceptional. We're driving over 60 miles an hour, 70, 80, just perfectly straight lines. Oops, crashed a little bit there. But yeah, the four-wheel drive definitely helps a lot with steering in my experience. Four-wheel steering helps the most if you just can't get your car to steer. Four-wheel steering will help a lot. Or just having a fin that steers with the wheels, that'll help a lot too. But this car's not really about steering, it's more about straight line speed, and this is great, just fantastic. I'm not touching anything right now, we're just going perfectly straight. Wheels are wobbling a little bit because we're just going insanely fast for these small wheels. We've got handbrake turns. Right now I'm intentionally handbrake turning. We're able to easily maintain control without spinning out because of four-wheel drive. I really like the way that this car turned out. Like, I really couldn't have hoped for better than this. And just to be clear, all of the components on this car are not fizz prop, like they're not weightless. And that helps a lot with keeping your car under control. I know a lot of people will make their engines and stuff weightless, especially in tanks. But really, it causes a lot of damage to your overall handling characteristics and stability because there's just nothing holding the car down. Like this car, the base prop weighs like 300 and the tires weigh 75 each. That's not a lot of weight to hold it down. And having an engine and stuff like that makes it a lot more stable. I do want to try the loop. I don't think I can pull it off in this car, but we're going to go for it anyway. Whoa, holy crap! I'd say that was pretty close, guys. Anyway, this is mostly a document for myself, but if it helped you, that's good. I really like the way this car turned out. Suspension seems to work really well on fast cars. If you're having problems with your wheels lifting up, move the engine forward a little bit more. The car still runs out of fuel in about 4 minutes. Yes. But yeah, traction steering issues alleviated by four-wheel drive. Real interesting how this stuff impacts Gary's mod. And fins can also be effective. The next upgrade of this car will probably fix this kind of shoddy suspension because we're basically just bottoming out the suspension continuously. But I wanted to get it driving well before messing with that. But anyway, I think that's about enough for this video. Have a good one.